Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please hit the subscribe this video. Just 72 hours ago, the world saw the headline, Hospital Sad Update. Kelly Ripa in tears. A single, raw image, Kelly, her eyes red-rimmed, her face a landscape of emotional exhaustion, emerging from an undisclosed New York medical facility. The image sent a seismic shockwave through social media. Then came the message. A post so heartfelt, so deeply personal, that it instantly became a global conversation. It was a tribute to a man who, she wrote, had been her anchor against the fiercest storms, her future, and her reason. The fear was immediate, palpable, and focused on one man, Mark Consuelos. Why the tears? Why the talk of an anchor in a storm? Was this the unthinkable? Was the fear for Mark's health a reality? Was this the heartbreaking end to one of Hollywood's greatest love stories? For days, we've navigated a sea of speculation, rumor, and outright panic. But what if the tragedy you think you're seeing is actually one of the greatest acts of love and sacrifice we've witnessed in years? Stay with me. The real story, the one Kelly's tears were truly for, is far more complex, and frankly, far more inspirational than any of us could have ever guessed. The truth begins not with Mark's health, but with a secret he and Kelly have kept for over 25 years. The narrative was simple. Star is in hospital. Star's spouse is crying. Ergo, Star is critically ill. Our sophisticated audience, you know how quickly a rumor can become a grim fact in the digital age. The media frenzy focused exclusively on potential medical crises. Was it the grueling work schedule of Riverdale and Liv finally taking its toll? Had Mark suffered a silent, devastating event? The reason this theory gained so much traction is rooted in their very public life. Kelly and Mark have always shared moments, but when it came to major life hurdles, they employed a protective shield. This sudden, agonizing peek behind the curtain, Kelly's visible distress, was unprecedented. It was a signal that whatever was happening, it was bigger than a routine procedure. It felt terminal. Fans feared for Mark not just because he's a beloved figure, but because the loss of their enduring marriage felt like the loss of an ideal. Mark Consuelos became a symbol of the great American husband. His possible decline felt like a threat to the idea that love lasts in Hollywood. But here is where the story pivots. The sad update was a brilliant misdirection, a cruel irony of the media cycle. The hospital stay was real. The tears were real. But the patient was not who everyone assumed. Mark Consuelos was indeed in the hospital. He was there for hours. But he was not a patient. He was there as a man fulfilling a promise. A promise made on a dilapidated porch in the summer of 1996. A promise to an elderly stranger that would eventually lead to this very moment of public confusion and private triumph. The moment Kelly Ripa's tears began to dry, she received a text. The text contained a single word that changes the entire story. That word was done. The truth, as it so often is far more nuanced and frankly, far more profoundly moving than the gossip rags could ever conceive. Mark Consuelos is, thankfully, healthy. Kelly's tears were not the sorrow of impending loss, but the overwhelming, visceral release of completing a decades-long mission. The hospital they were at was not a general ward, it was the Consuelos Ripa Family Center for Advanced Pediatric Care. The real patient, the person who occupied their minds and their time, was not a member of their immediate family, but a legacy project they had tirelessly funded, managed, and dedicated their entire married life to. This was not a quick donation, this was a personal, soul-bearing commitment to a specific wing, dedicated to children with rare, terminal diagnoses, the kind of diagnoses Mark's own grandmother, who was a nurse, used to weep about in letters to her family. Kelly's initial social media message, the one that caused such panic, was misunderstood. When she wrote, "My anchor against the fiercest storms," she wasn't talking about Mark saving her from a medical crisis. She was talking about Mark saving this project from bureaucratic and financial storms that had threatened to derail it for the last 2 years. The hardest decision we ever made wasn't a choice about life support. It was the agonizing, final decision to liquidate a significant portion of their private assets they had planned to use for their children's inheritance, to meet the construction deadline and guarantee the center's immediate opening. Mark was in the hospital that day not as a patient, but as the co-signer of